Hey, what's up? This is Caleb from MassMuscleTV, bringing the competitors to you. I'm joined by Eric Helms. Eric is one of the 4 coaches from the 3DMJ team. He has won numerous INBF, NGA, and INBA bodybuilding competitions, as well as he competes in powerlifting in the APA, and recently placed first in the APA Raw Northwestern Regional Powerlifting Championships. He is crushing it, dominating with Team 3DMJ. They're next level. They're just blowing up. Without any further ado, how you doing, Eric?
I'm doing really well, and I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity here.
Yeah, totally, man. Really, my first question is, where are we? Like, we are looking at you, and we see some equipment. What is this?
This is the home of Jeff Alberts, WNBF Pro. This is where he has trained for the last 10 years or so, I think, where all the work was done to win his titles. He's got swords in here. He's got pictures of him shredded. It's a very motivating environment. And this last couple months of the off season before January, Jeff and I decided to start training together, and really trying to put the last finishing touches on before we start stripping it down. And this is probably the most motivating environment I've ever trained in. And he built it all himself. It's all in his garage, so it's pretty cool.
Wow. And so this is the gym where we see all the, or most of the famous 3DMJ videos?
Yeah. Jeff is a really good video editor, and whenever he trains and he gets the chance, he'll do some video editing. And we try to put together some motivational videos, keep people inspired. And this is the place. This is the dungeon.
Yeah, the dungeon. Now, how did you guys first come up with, like, how was Team 3DMJ, like, born, basically?
That's a pretty cool story. The website 3D Muscle Journey actually started as just a catalog of Jeff's journey from being off since 2006 to coming back in 2009. And his uncle had the idea to have a video journey, cataloging his contest prep and return to the stage. And Jeff's been competing since the early 90s, and it was only in 2009 that he had his best season. It all came together, and he won his NGA and WNBF Pro card. And I first met Jeff at the NGA California, where he ended up winning the whole thing. And we talked a little bit backstage, but I didn't really get to know him much. But I knew that he was going to be the guy I was going to be going against for the rest of the season. So I got online and I found his website, and I thought it was really cool. He had a thing called the Natural Movement, which is just, hey, if you're a natural competitor or an athlete, let's do a profile on you, get you some exposure, inspire some people, tell us about, why you're into the sport like this. And I signed up for it, and I printed out a picture of him, put him on my motivation wall, because I knew I'd be going against him at the INBF Cap City. And sure enough, this time he won his class, I won my class, and we were on stage together going at it in the overall. And we got to talking backstage, and we started finding out that we had a very similar mindset, a humble approach, trying to, really educate people. We'd both had bad experiences with bodybuilding, doing it in a more unhealthy way, getting a little too obsessive and not really enjoying the journey like we should. And we were also had a pretty moderate, intelligent, keep it simple, scientifically based approach to the sport. And we just kept talking. And at the time, my really good friend, who I did my first show with, Alberto Nunez, also WNBF Pro, and Brad Loomis, they were backstage working it. And we had already become friends, myself, Brad, and Alberto. And they're very much inspirations to me, having already won their pro cards and being where I'm hoping to get this next year. And Brad's a personal trainer. Alberto's been a personal trainer, and he's prepped bodybuilders. And we found that we were doing a lot better with our knowledge when we pooled our assets. And Jeff just seemed to really have that experience that we didn't. I mean, he's been in the weight room 20 years. And he's been on stage more times than Alberto, Brad, and I combined. And we just found that we all really clicked well together. And it really started coming together when Jeff and I, neither one of us won that overall, by the way. Moji Alua beat us both. And then we went to Washington State Kevin and Denise's show, great show. And I won the light heavyweights. He won I think he was in the middles at that show. In that show, he ended up winning the overall. So he beat me like a bunch of times in 09. And we really got to talking backstage. And then in the off season, shortly after my and his season ended that year, we decided, let's do something together. Let's really try to help the athletes in the sport. There's not a big presence on the West Coast. Like the INBF, WNBF, and natural bodybuilding really started in New York. And there's a big NPC presence, and there's a big old school bodybuilding presence. The Venice Beach guys, and a lot of the methods that a lot of the bodybuilders on the West Coast are using are from kind of the 70s era and the steroid information, and no judgment against that, but it's hurting a lot of natural competitors, and there's a more scientific, better way to do it. So we decided, let's help our fellow competitors out. Let's elevate the sport as a whole. So we met in the winter of 09, all four of us, and we decided to get this thing going. And Jeff already had the website, so it was really in addition to an already great website, and then we added on the coaching services, and we decided to start watching shows and giving exposure to athletes. And we've just been trying to really kind of expand natural bodybuilding to show it in a positive light, so people can see that this can be something healthy. It can build character, and dedication, desire, and discipline. And the journey it's really a microcosm of what life can and should be like. You grow so much from the sport. I'm a much stronger man from having done natural bodybuilding and taking myself through prep, and I would say that it can be a very positive force if done healthily, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
It's kind of a long answer.
No, that's good. That's what we want.
Okay.
And then pretty much, how did the supporting athletes come about? Because I know you just recently put your online application for athletes to be supported by 3DMJ. How did that come about?
Right. Well, we decided we wanted some way to kick it off. So we decided, since people didn't have a lot of knowledge of who we were and any, like, for example, Dr. Joe or Lane, they've established themselves as, we know what we're doing, we can get you in shape, and we really are effective at using scientific methods to prep people. And we really looked to them for inspiration and for a good example of how to approach things. So we decided, let's offer our services to two people for free who really could benefit from it, who have a lot of potential, and who can really represent the sport in a positive light and really inspire other people. So we started advertising on the site, on Facebook, on the bodybuilding forums, and we just offered our services up. We said, hey, send in some applications, and we'll see what we can do with you. And we had a lot of interest. We had about a 2.5-month period where we accepted applications, and we had a very tough time deciding which two guys we wanted to take. But we ended up sponsoring Rich Knapp and Jason Bozak. Very two humble, positive people. Richard Knapp competed in the INBF in the early 2000 period. Then his MS got to the point where he had to be wheelchair bound. And I know personally, I don't know if I would have kept bodybuilding in that situation, but now he is a top-level wheelchair bodybuilder, and he's got wheelchair classes added to different shows. He started a website dedicated to natural wheelchair bodybuilding. He's going to be competing next year in the open division also. He got that kind of opened up, saying, hey, if it's an open division, I want to compete in it too. Just because I'm wheelchair bound, sure. You knock me down on the poses where my legs would be a hindrance, but I want to be on stage with everybody else. This is my physique, it's what I got. So he's doing a lot to really promote the sport and really show that, your problems may not be that big of a deal comparatively. And I think that keeps people positive and working hard. And then Jason, he was just really a diamond in the rough. This guy has one of the best physiques I've ever seen on somebody who'd never competed before. And really positive, intelligent, and we just wanted to say, hey, the first time you go out there, we want no one to know that this is your first time on stage. And they both did a great job representing the sport. And we decided, this went so well that let's do it every year. We can always want to help a couple athletes, try to get the right approach to prep, do it healthily, do it effectively so they can really show all their hard work.
Very cool. And then just kind of on now touching base with you, how did you personally get into bodybuilding?
That's kind of a bittersweet story. I never really liked working out. And back in, I want to say 2004, a close friend of mine had something really, really tragic happen to them. And I couldn't be there to support them. And I had a lot of anger around that. And I needed some kind of outlet because I was doing things that were destructive and unhealthy. You know, I didn't want to be one of those guys who had, you know, who took a hard punch in life and ended up becoming an alcoholic or, you know, having anger issues or something like that. So a buddy of mine, I was in the Air Force at the time, he had the Modern Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was a gym rat. And I said, hey, man, I want to lift weights with you. Just go show me the ropes. And I remember our first workout, we did legs, and we ended with deadlifts, high rep deadlifts. And it was only like 135, one plate on there. And on the third set of 10, I threw out my back, hobbled outside, and then threw up on the ground. And at that point, I knew I was hooked. So I just really found I loved like just pushing myself to the limit. I obviously got a little smarter over time. But it started out as almost kind of an outlet for anger, but eventually it became something positive. You know, I got help. I dealt with that difficulty in my life, and I found, man, I really love lifting weights, and this has really helped me. It's very therapeutic for me, and it's helped me through a lot of challenges in my life that aren't totally unrelated to weightlifting. It's really kind of an energy release for me. So that's how I got into bodybuilding.
Wow, that's quite a way to get hooked.
Yeah.
Click here for part 2 of the Eric Helms interview.
Whoa. Are you still watching this? You need to click on the video so you can see the next part in this interview and get bigger, stronger, faster.